Welcome one and all. I am Mr. Dhananjay Pise, working as an assistant professor in Department of Engineering Sciences, AISSMS Institute of Information Technology, Pune. Today we are going to see the introduction of welding process. It is part of the course Systems in Mechanical Engineering of first year engineering students. Welding process. It is the process of joining two similar or dissimilar metallic parts with the application of heat and with or without application of pressure and filler material. So the different types of welding process are pressure welding, wherein forge welding, electrical arc welding, thermite welding are the different types, and non-pressurized welding, that is also called as a fusion welding. Herein electric arc welding, gas welding, non-pressure thermite welding are the different types of the welding processes. Advantages and disadvantages of the welding process. The component formed by this welding process, it is in light in weight. It is the process is less costlier. Rate of production is high. Effectivity of this process is more for the complicated structures. It is effective technique for repairing the broken parts. It can be used for making fluid tight joints. The disadvantage of the welding process are it forms a permanent joint. It cannot sustain for the vibrations, that is high frequency vibrations. Quality and the strength is depends upon the skill of the welder. Residue stresses cause distortion of the workpiece. It gives harmful radiations like light, fumes, spatters, etc. We can find the application of this welding process in the fabrication of the bridges, towers, automobile parts, boilers, pressure vessels, tanks, pipelines, manufacturing of the steel furniture. The first or the basic welding process is the electric arc welding process, wherein heating is done to the electric arc striked between the electrode and the workpiece. Here in this process we don't require any pressure. External filler material we have to use. So here you can see the basic structure of the electric arc welding process, wherein power supply is there. The positive terminal of the supply is connected to the electrode holder and negative terminal is connected to the workpiece. When the electrode is struck against the workpiece, due to the potential difference, electric arc is generated. Here you can see the electric arc. This one is the positive terminal electrode. This is the two metal parts which we are going to join. So we have given the positive supply for this. So when you are strike the electrode against the workpiece, electric arc will be generated and it will cause to produce the heat. So while filling this gap between these two metal parts, we have to use the filler material. Shielded metal arc welding process. In this process, heating is done due to the electric arc between flux coated consumable electrode and the workpiece. Here onto the electrode, it is a metal core electrode. The flux coating is there. This flux coating is preventing the dirt particles to mix with the weld pool, so it is forming the slack covering. Remaining working is same as that of electric arc welding. Here also we don't require any pressure. Here the electrode itself will be acting as a filler material. The next type of the welding process is the brazing. It is a process of joining two similar or dissimilar metals by heating them to a temperature above 450 degrees Celsius but below the melting point temperature of the workpiece, and using non-ferrous filler material. The filler material most commonly used it is the alloys of copper, silver or nickel. The flux is applied onto the surface wherein filler material is to be flow. So it will remove the oxides and impurities and it prevents the oxidation of filler material and the workpiece. It lowers the surface tension and enhance the flow into the joint. Disadvantage and advantage of the brazing process. Advantages: it can join large variety of dissimilar materials with different thickness. No change in mechanical properties because the welding is carried out at the low melting point temperature. It can produce pressure tight joints. It is corrosion resistant. It requires little or no finishing operation. Non-metals can be joined with this process. Disadvantage of the brazing: it is having lower strength. It requires tightly mating parts. Cost of filler material is high. Large surfaces cannot be joined easily due to the lack of uniform heating. We can find application of brazing into the heat exchanger, pipe fittings, electrical works, joints, carbide tools with the shank of cutting tool likewise. Next welding process is the soldering. It is a process of joining two similar or dissimilar metals by heating them to a temperature below 450 degrees Celsius and using non-ferrous filler material. The filler material used here are having very low melting point temperature, that is below 450 degrees Celsius. So tin or lead alloys can be, or the alloys of antimony, zinc and aluminum can be used as a filler material. Advantage and disadvantage of the brazing process: it can join large variety of dissimilar metals with different thickness. No change in mechanical properties, as it is similar to the brazing only. So the difference between brazing and soldering: in the brazing, heating temperature we required is above the 450 degrees Celsius but below melting point temperature, whereas in the soldering we require it at below the 450 degrees Celsius. Filler material used in the brazing are the alloys of copper, silver or nickel, whereas in the soldering, tin lead alloy of antimony, zinc and aluminum can be used. Heating of the workpiece in the brazing, it is carried out by flame or furnace. Similar way it can be used for the soldering as well. Here the surface finish we are getting is a good one, whereas in the soldering we need to carry out some finishing operations. Strength of the joint lower than the welded joint, but it is good, whereas in the soldering it is very low. Thank you.